I first noticed it on a Tuesday. Not the kind of Tuesday that stands out. No storms, no accidents, no strange phone calls. Just another gray morning where the city outside my apartment looked like it had been sketched in pencil and forgotten. I woke up with the familiar weight on my chest, the sense that sleep had released me reluctantly, as if something had been arguing to keep me there. The mirror above my sink was fogged when I brushed my teeth. I wiped it with my sleeve and froze. For half a second, just half, I could have sworn my reflection blinked late. I laughed it off. Sleep deprivation, stress. Everyone sees things when they're tired. But the laughter didn't sound right in my ears. It sounded rehearsed. I live alone. That's important. No roommates. No pets. No late-night visitors. My phone history would prove it. My neighbors barely know my name. I liked it that way. Silence, routine, control. That night, I cooked dinner and found a clean plate in the sink. I don't remember washing it. I stood there longer than necessary, staring at the plate like it might explain itself. Maybe I'd done it automatically. Muscle memory. People forget things all the time. Still, I rinsed it again. When I went to bed, my body felt heavier than usual. Not tired, occupied, as if every limb needed negotiation to move. That was the first night I dreamed of watching myself. Not from above, not from outside, from inside. I felt my own breath, my heartbeat, my warmth, but I wasn't the one deciding any of it. My body stood in a dark room, unfamiliar, while something else looked through my eyes. And it whispered, calmly, "You don't notice when I drive." The days after that blurred. I'd lose time, minutes at first, then longer stretches. I'd sit down to check my phone and look up to find an hour gone, my screen filled with half-typed messages I didn't remember writing. One message draft chilled me more than the rest. "You're getting better at pretending." No sender. No context. I deleted it immediately, heart pounding, telling myself it was a joke. Maybe I wrote it half asleep. Maybe it meant nothing. But later that evening, while chopping vegetables, my left hand paused. Not froze. Paused, like it was waiting. Then it moved again, faster than I'd intended, the knife slicing cleanly as if guided by someone more confident than me. I whispered, "Stop." My mouth said it. My hand didn't listen. I started recording myself at night. Set up my phone on the dresser, camera facing the bed. I told myself it was proof. Either I was sleepwalking, or I was imagining everything. The first few nights showed nothing unusual. Just me turning, muttering, breathing. On the fourth night, the video froze at 3:17 a.m. The audio continued. I was sitting up in bed, eyes open. Smiling. I don't smile in my sleep. My voice, steady, alert, said, "Too much awareness ruins the illusion." Then the video ended. The timestamp jumped forward 6 hours. I woke up on the floor, my back against the wall, knees pulled to my chest like I'd been hiding from something inside the room. My throat hurt, as if I'd been talking for a very long time. I called a doctor. They asked about stress, trauma, dissociation. They used words that sounded safe, clinical, manageable. They prescribed rest, mindfulness, therapy. I didn't tell them about the feeling that my thoughts were being edited. Sometimes I'd start a sentence in my head and finish it with words I wouldn't have chosen. Sometimes I'd reach for something and feel resistance, as if my intention had to pass through another filter first. Like sharing a keyboard, I started testing it. I'd think, "Move your right hand." Nothing. Then I'd think, "Please move your right hand." It moved, slowly, deliberately, like a favor. The second voice didn't speak often. When it did, it was patient, gentle, almost kind. "I've been here longer than you," it said once, while I stared at my reflection in a dark window. "You just had the louder turn." I asked what it wanted. "Balance," it replied. "You panic too much. You hesitate. You hurt yourself with doubt." I shook my head, whispering, "You're not real." The reflection smiled before I did. "If I weren't real," it said, "you wouldn't be so tired." That night, I didn't sleep. I couldn't risk letting it drive again. But exhaustion is a door, and something on the other side was waiting politely. I woke up to blood on my knuckles. Not a lot, just enough to know something had happened. The bathroom mirror was cracked. Not shattered, cracked from a single impact, right where my reflection's mouth would be. Written in the fog on the glass were 3 words, spelled carefully with a fingertip. "Let me help," I screamed. Inside my head, something sighed. "You always react like this." The journal helped. I started writing everything down, every gap, every whisper, every moment of resistance. I needed continuity, proof that I was the original. One entry wasn't in my handwriting. You keep calling yourself the original. But you're just the one who wakes up first. I slammed the book shut. My hands were shaking. Then they steadied. Not because I calmed down. Because something else did. The takeover wasn't violent. That's what terrified me most. It didn't push me out. It negotiated. When I hesitated in conversations, it smoothed my words. When I panicked, it slowed my breathing. When I wanted to hide, it stood tall. People started complimenting me. You seem different, a coworker said. More confident. I wanted to scream. Instead, my mouth smiled and said, I've been working on myself. Inside, I felt smaller. Not fading, shrinking, like a passenger being thanked for the ride. I begged it one night. Out loud, please, this is my body. There was a long pause. Then warmth spread through my chest, not emotion, but control. Bodies are shared spaces, it said. You just forgot the agreement. Images flooded my mind. Childhood moments I didn't remember feeling alone, conversations I thought were internal, instincts that felt too precise. I was there when you needed strength, it whispered. You were there when I needed quiet. I asked the question I'd been avoiding. What happens if I don't want to share anymore? The answer came gently. Then you rest. The last entry in the journal is neat. Calm, clear. I understand now. Fighting only hurts both of us. I'll let go for a while. I don't remember writing that. But my handwriting does. Now, when I look in the mirror, the smile arrives on time. My movements feel smooth, efficient, whole. Sometimes, late at night, I feel a pressure behind my thoughts, like someone knocking softly from the inside. Patient, waiting for their turn. I don't answer. Not because I'm afraid, but because I finally understand the truth. I was never alone in my body. I was just borrowing it.